Yay!
Yeah.
Look at you guys, Jersey Boys, only the 12th longest running show in Broadway history.
Is that it?
And now starting a new life at New World Stages in Midtown Manhattan. Thanks for being here, Jersey Boys.
Thanks for having us.
Let's go down the line, have you each introduce yourself, your name, and who you play in the show. Start with you.
My name is Aaron DeJesus, and I play Frankie Valli.
I'm Nicolas Dromard, and I play Tommy DeVito.
I'm Mark Edwards. I play Nick Massey.
I'm Cory Jeacoma, and I play Bob Gaudio.
How long has each of you been with Jersey Boys, and what was your first introduction to the Four Seasons and their music? Why don't we start with you, Cory?
I joined the company last year. I joined the national tour with Mark and Aaron over here, and we just met Nick a few months ago when we joined New World Stages. But I did the tour for a year, and then they were like, you want to open the off-Broadway company? I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I was first introduced to the Four Seasons. It's a funny story. My dad, his brothers used to actually like tease him with the high falsetto Frankie Valli of like, they used to sing Sherry to him, and it used to like get under his skin, and he used to like cry as a kid. And now he comes and sees the show and he cries for a different reason.
Oh, that's cute. How about you?
I joined at the same time Cory did for tour last year, and I did the whole tour as a swing. And then they asked me to come and do Nick Massey at New World Stages this year, which was really cool.
Who are you covering as a swing?
I was, oh gosh, I think I covered 5 different tracks last year. I covered Nick, and then 4 of the ensemble tracks as well.
Got it. So just one of the Jersey Boys, and then a bunch of supporting
and then a bunch of other stuff.
For people who don't know, swings are the unsung heroes of Broadway. They are like understudies, but they know basically every part in the show.
It's a lot, but it's a lot of fun too.
I bet.
If you ever get the chance to do it, it is a lot of fun because you push yourself a little bit. You stretch yourself a lot further than you thought you could go.
Yeah, I think everybody should swing once in their lifetime because it's like the most talent. You have to be the most talented and the most underappreciated cast member.
Have you ever done it, Nicholas?
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
What's the difference between being a swing and being a lead? What?
I mean, both have their ups and downs of you know, being a swing. You get something fresh every show if you're not on, or you pull your hair out if you're not on for like 3 or 4 weeks. I started getting the shakes after 3 weeks. I'm like, I got to go on stage. And doing 8 shows a week as well is a lot of fun because you get to develop nuances and really get comfortable in a role. Yeah. But it does become, I mean, it does become work. It becomes a job where you have to be, you know, it's a storytelling that you say every night. You're on stage and you have to be present. You can't be like, you know, Sherry, what am I going to eat tonight? Oh, I can have a steak with green beans, or else all of a sudden the show moves so fast that next thing you know, you're 2 steps behind and like, where am I? So you got to be present all the time.
Yeah. So you came straight from the Broadway company while these guys were all out touring together.
Yeah, actually, I was on tour for a year and a half from 2013 to 2015, and then I replaced on Broadway for 3 months. At the end of 2014, I closed the show, and then I opened this with these awesome guys. So.
And how long have you guys been doing that now at New World Stages? About
2 months.
Yeah.
About 2 months. Yeah.
So you're settled in. You've got your new home.
Yeah, we're settling in nicely.
And how's it going over there as Frankie Valli?
It's going well. I've been with the show for going on 6 years, actually.
But you didn't start as Frankie, right?
No, I started in the Las Vegas company, and I played Joe Pesci, and I understudied Frankie. And I did that for about 3.5 years, and then I went on the road on the tour, and before these guys joined, actually. So I was a year on tour before they came. So I did 2 years on tour, and that's when I started playing Frankie Valli. And now I'm here.
Do you still ever do a Joe Pesci impression?
You know what's hilarious? It's funny you asked that. This morning I was cleaning the apartment before I came, and I was flipping through movies. I was like, I'm gonna watch a movie. And I came to My Cousin Vinny. And I was like, yep, My Cousin Vinny, put it on.
Oh, that's funny.
Your biological clock. There you go. That's my Pesci impersonation for you.
For those who have seen Jersey Boys, they know Joe Pesci, the Oscar-winning actor, actually had a part in connecting the guys.
Spoiler alert.
That's a great thing.
I'm not worried about spoilers after 15 years. Plus a popular movie, you know. I feel like we can go ahead and give away the ending. Guess what? They become a hit.
Yeah. Oh.
I want to talk about the format of the show because it's so brilliant. The Four Seasons, of course, is the name of the band, but the show is divided into 4 parts, each one of them representing a season in the year, and each one of the characters, each one of you 4, takes a season to narrate. What does each of you see as the characteristics that make your character right for that season?
Ooh, very deep.
Yeah. I really love.
Go ahead.
Oh, I love the format because each season is so specific. You know, like Tommy's season is spring when they're springing to finding the show or finding the group and everything, and then Bob comes along with summer, and that's when all of the hits start coming out, and it's vibrant, and the colors of the shows change.
Yeah.
The show changes, and then
I love that Bob is summer, just to add in, because his big hit was short shorts, which of course you would only wear in the hottest weather.
You wouldn't be wearing it right now, that's for sure.
Certainly not.
And then Nick comes along and narrates fall, and that's when the group is sort of falling into the debt and everything.
Season of change.
Yeah, the season of change, and then Frankie takes over for winter when that's really when the nitty gritty stuff happens. It's a beautiful format of the show. So great question.
Yeah. Anybody have anything else to contribute?
Sorry, guys.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks. That was good.
And we're out of time.
Yeah.
Thanks,
No,
guys.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
No, what I love about the format is that it's really one of the first jukebox musical where the way they tell the story is about how the songs came about. It's not like the song tells the story. It's not like, oh, I love you, blah, blah, blah. It's going to the song. Because I did Mamma Mia for 2 years, and it's about the same. That show's about telling the story through song. You know,
Right.
so it's taking
not ABBA's story.
Exactly. It's taking songs that were written at another time and fitting them in the story. Where Jersey Boys and Beautiful does the same format as well. They take it as the concert. So it's like we wrote this song in the recording studio, and you see the conflicts and the relationships in the recording studio, how the song was recorded, or how it is in concert. So there's only one song in Oh What a Night where it's kind of tells the story a little bit, where we have actions, but that's the only song, and everything else is just like, it's amazing the way it's staged and the way the audience is brought backstage with us and goes through this journey, and that's what I love about the way this show is written.
There's a story out there that originally when they were conceiving the show, they wanted it to be a bit more like a Mamma Mia type of format, where there was going to be this girl Sherry, and they were all going to go to a twist party and everything like that. But Rick Ellis and Marshall Brickman, the writers of the show, kind of sat with him and went, "Stop. Tell us the story of how you guys started. Tell us the story of your group. That's your show. That's interesting. That's different. That's something that we haven't seen before."
While they were telling the story about Sherry and everything, Frankie and Bob were sitting there and just bantering and being like, "Oh yeah, remember when this happened?" And Marshall Brickman and Rick Ellis were like, "No, that's your story."
Yeah.
Like,
remember
that's
when we got arrested in Ohio because we didn't pay our holiday?
Tell that story. We want to hear that.
Yeah.
How Joe Pesci's connected, and then like everything. It's just an amazing true story.
It's enough true life story, and it's interesting enough that it has conflict, it has triumph, it has everything you want in any sort of an entertainment.
What I thought was really interesting researching the Four Seasons was that because they existed in this teeny sliver of time right before the Beatles, they were considered this very clean-cut group of white guys singing R&B, not a lot was written about their actual histories, and like most of them had jail time, and there were all these mob connections and stuff, and yet the magazines didn't want to cover that because then the songs wouldn't have sold. So there was this untold story to bring to stage.
So part of that untold story, at least with my character, with Nick Massey, is that Nick Massey was probably at least 10 years older than all the rest of the guys in the group. And nobody ever knew it. And if you go back and you look at when Nick Massey was born, if you search it anywhere on
1926?
Well, it changes. There are different dates for when he was born because they wanted to make the group younger and all the same age so that they were very clean cut. And the time they took out of his life was actually all the time that he spent in jail.
Whoa.
Because they didn't want jail time in this clean cut group that was going on, on TV, on the Ed Sullivan Show and on all these other shows. So they took out the time that he was in jail. So that's why a lot of times if you search the birth year of Nick Massey, it's different in different areas.
And Nick is the only one who wasn't alive when the show was being created,
That's
right?
correct.
That's correct, yeah.
Correct.
Because the show was started being created in 2004, and Nick died in 2000, Christmas Eve 2000.
Yeah, which they addressed in the show. And then you guys have, I assume, been around Frankie and Bob a little bit, the real life guys.
Yeah,
cool cats.
I think I'm the only one that's met all of the existing
I think
guys.
so,
We saw Bob when we were rehearsing here at New World Stages. We saw Frankie while we were rehearsing, and we see the two of them probably more than anybody else. But when I was in Las Vegas, Tommy still lives in Las Vegas.
Oh, right.
And
I
so-
think he's legally bound to live in
Yeah,
Las
right?
Vegas,
Yeah.
at least according to the show.
He wants to keep his legs, you know?
Right.
But no, he still lives in Las Vegas, and he would, when I was doing the show in Las Vegas, he would stop in from time to time. And until I came out on tour, we saw him probably more than anybody else.
Did you ever try dropping his name in a casino? There's a line in the show that says you get kicked out of a casino like that if you ever say his
12
name.
seconds.
It's been long enough that they'll just flag you and put you up on the wall. You know?
Nice. I want to talk about you guys as actors now. You're all very experienced. Your bios in the playbill are, you know, they've got all the big hits in there, whether it's Mamma Mia, a couple of you have been in Wicked. There's, you know, just long resumes. How did it work coming together? I know 3 of you worked on tour together. What's the vibe like? Are you like the actual Four Seasons where it's Brotherhood, but there's like some conflict there too? What's it like backstage?
I think it's mostly Brotherhood.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we like to rag on each other, and we like
Mostly
to
on
tease.
Cory.
Mostly on.
Yeah.
We do. We pick on Cory a little bit because
Yeah.
he's the baby.
Yeah.
Cory, come back. So just like in the actual group, Bob Gaudio is the baby of the
Yes.
group and
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
little
yeah.
hazing. What kind of hazing are you doing to
Oh, we
Cory
don't
over
haze
there?
so much, do we?
No.
I'm
We're gonna
gonna
have to turn the
ask
cameras
you,
off for
Cory.
that.
Yeah. We don't haze as much. We just give him a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
He's a good sport.
I try. I
Yeah.
try. I do what I can.
Sometimes.
But no, we have a great time. We have a good, a really good rapport, and I think that's one of the testaments to how great the show is I've been doing the show for 6 years, and I've had several different versions of seasons that I've worked with and other companies that I've worked with, and the show always works, no matter who plays the roles. It works. There's a good rapport. The writing is great. The songs are great, and so it's just it's a great piece, and it's a joy to be a part of.
And
And it's such a small community as well that even before joining or all of us starting the show, I had heard from a lot of friends saying, "Oh, Aaron's so great, and Cory's a little baby, and Mark's awesome." So it was really great to just come along. We instantly bonded. I mean,
You are over 18, right?
I am over
you're
18.
a legal adult.
I am over 18.
Barely.
Sure.
No, but there's a direct correlation to how much fun we're having on stage and how much fun the audience is having. That people always come up to us afterwards and they're like, "You look like you're having so much fun." And it's like, because we are. It's we're spending every single day with each other, and when you're on tour, you're traveling with each other and living with each other sometimes, and so like this becomes your family.
It's hard not to have a good time with the music and the show, the music itself. I mean, to go back to an earlier question that you had, I grew up on the Four Seasons, hearing it on the radio when my mom was driving me to school on the oldies station. That's how I grew up with the Four Seasons. So people come up to us sometimes after the show and they say, "Oh my gosh, it was such a great show. I grew up on this music." And I say, "I grew up on this music too." So it's so much fun to do a show with such great music that's written so well. So we have fun up there.
Speaking of the audience, I don't think I've ever seen an audience have so much fun. There were people jumping to their feet in the middle of the show to like dance and sing along. In fact,
We love that.
There were people behind me who were dancing. They were seated, but they were dancing so enthusiastically that I had to kind of be like, "Stop kicking my feet." But at the same time, at least they were doing it in rhythm. So
That was probably my mom, to be honest.
Yeah, is she there every day? Are your families at the show all the time?
When they come to town, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom has seen the show, I don't know, like 20 or 30 times,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the holidays, my mom and dad came and they came and saw the show. They were like their 17th time, so yeah, they love it.
that's
They're
so
so proud of
amazing.
like we honor our parents by they was doing what we love to do and what they support us doing. So it's really great to have them in the crowd and supporting us.
How early did you each get started in your musical theater passions? Were you doing it at 2 and 3? Were you singing along to those Four Season songs in the car?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think the first show I ever did, I think I was like 7 or 8 years old, and that's sort of when I caught the bug. But if you ask my family, I'm sure that I was being a ham at the age of 3 or 4.
What was the show you did when
I
you were
did The
7?
King and I was my first show. I was Prince Chulalongkorn at the age of 8.
I'm gonna call you that from now on.
Prince Chewy.
Don't do that.
Prince Chewy.
Okay,
That's what
got
they
it.
called me, Prince Chewy. Yeah, I did. I did The King and I at the age of 8, and I've been doing it ever since. It's been
And
great.
Nicholas, what about you? What was your first performance?
I did the when I was 8 or 9, I did Anne of Green Gables in Canada. I'm from Canada, so it was a little community musical theater community production.
Did you take it on the road to Prince Edward Island?
No, I didn't. I was offered to go, and then I got Mamma Mia in Toronto, so I had to turn that down.
All right.
Wait, how old were you when you did Mamma Mia?
8.
So you were
18.
you were a kid.
Yeah, I was a kid. Yeah, I was Corey's age, 19.
Come on.
Okay, Aaron, what about you? Were you just a tiny little...
My mom had us singing ever since we could make noise. Music has been a huge part of my family. I didn't do theater until junior high, but I was also in The King and I played Prince Chewbacca. I mean, Chula Longhorn, excuse me.
Yes.
Same role. But
You did? You really did?
Yeah, we did. I played the same role as he did. It wasn't the same production.
Yes, I would imagine so.
But,
I also wouldn't necessarily picture either of you in that role, but I guess, times are changing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sometimes the community of Siamese people in a neighborhood is dwindling, so
That's a completely different
There is an
conversation.
absolutely, there is a picture out there somewhere in the ethers of me doing that role and having the most obscene amount of makeup you can possibly imagine. It really, but the problem was they didn't blend it in, and I was wearing a sleeveless costume, so it only goes up to my elbows. So like the makeup goes up to here, and then the makeup only goes down to like the neck, and then it's pale. It was a little rough, but
It's community theater.
Yeah.
It's the
community
best.
theater.
Well, casting
great.
is certainly an issue we could spend a lot of time
course,
talking
of
about, and I
course,
think we
of
don't want to go
course,
down that
of
rabbit
course.
hole right now. We still need to hear about, I know, Corey, you're still quite a kid from what we hear, but how old were you when you first started working in theater?
Well, I'm just waiting for the jokes from these guys. In 5th grade,
Last year?
thank you. In 5th grade, I did my talent show, and I sang Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, as any 5th grader does. And my reasoning was just like, I enjoy singing and want to see if people enjoy listening to me. And
That sounds pretty logical.
yeah, right? And it just sort of kept on going from there. And I had done stuff, like in elementary school, like little variety shows and stuff like that. But that was when I sort of was like, oh, this is fun. And I caught the bug, just like they all said.
I love Sugar Pie Honey Bunch. Fits in with this.
Right?
I feel like it could be a Four Seasons song.
Probably.
One of the things about this show, it's a little bit hard to remember now because the show is so ubiquitous, and I feel like everybody.
Good word. Good word.
Thank you. But I think there were a lot of people who didn't realize that all of these hits all originated with the Four Seasons.
And there's a lot that
That's-
it didn't make it in the show as well.
Yeah,
Our show
that's
has
the first
33
thing-
songs.
When someone sees the show for the first time, that's the first thing they say is that, oh, I didn't realize this is all their songs. And like Nick is saying, yeah, we have a list of the ones that got away.
Yeah, the ones that
right?
didn't make it. And I
Yeah.
think there's maybe 60 songs and 20 songs didn't make it to the show because there's, we had to keep it under 3 hours.
People sit in the audience and they're like, oh, they wrote that song
Right.
and that song. And if you don't know the song by the Four Seasons, you've heard a cover of it, like Can't Take My Eyes Off You by Lauryn Hill. And all of these covers of it. And you always see people in the audience, an older couple, when Aaron steps up and starts singing Can't Take, an older couple like grabs hands
Aw.
and reminisces.
It's really tender.
It's really nice.
The guy next to me, not the person behind me dancing, the guy next to me
He grabbed
was
your hand? Yeah.
crying. No, he didn't grab my hand, but his tears were streaming down his face.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to see how the audience goes on this journey with us. After Aaron sings "Can't Take My Eyes Off You," or "Fallen Angel," and all of us come back on stage together, and we're singing Ragdoll, and it's just us four just singing, and you see the audience, and you see grown men with tears in their eyes, and people just holding each other. It's amazing.
It's really amazing to see how this story, the show, connects with people on such a personal level. And it's because of the music, it's because of the story, it's because it's the story of four guys that were just guys, They were just guys from the neighborhood, the old neighborhood. And they were able to overcome amazing odds and become, huge stars. But it's really neat to see how it resonates personally with so many people. And it's an honor and a blessing to be a part of that.
We really get connected to our artists, right? The music we listen to on a daily basis, we really connect with with those people. So when we hear the life story of some of these people and we see it in front of us, it hits us in a certain way. So a lot of these people that come and they're full of emotion and they've got tears in their eyes. They're remembering a part of their life that maybe that particular song was attached to, or that group was attached to and got them through a hard part or a joyous part in their lives, and they're remembering that each and every song as they go through the show. So it's neat to see that emotion come from audience members.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And these guys were for the people, you know, they weren't, they say, there's a monologue that I say in the show where we weren't a social movement like the Beatles, we were for the people, you know, they were the people that the guys who were shipping overseas were listening to and fighting for our country and then coming back home.
Blue collar.
Yeah, the blue collar people, they started from the bottom and now they're here.
Are you still learning anything about your characters even after years with the Jersey Boys?
I find still after 6 years of playing this role, I'm finding new things. I'm finding new moments. I'm finding and discovering little things, relationship moments, and things like that. I mean, any great piece like this one is so well written. If you're paying attention, if you're listening, that's an important acting technique is to listen, to pay attention. What's happening? You always find, and that's how you keep it fresh.
Anything specific you can identify? Like, oh, I just realized about Frankie that.
I don't know.
I just realized how great Frankie's hair is. It's, you know, it's really crazy.
Did I hear in a I think you said once that all the hairspray sort of helps you sing that falsetto, that it gets in your lungs, and
If you were to do a scope of my lungs, you would see a heavy shellacking of heavy-duty hairspray.
right, which helps you hit those high notes.
Yeah, and you know, keeps my hair up, keeps my voice up.
I can't even imagine what the hair product budget is for this show.
Right?
They ought to get sponsored, I'm telling you.
Yeah, they
right.
should.
But that's the thing about live theater. I mean, to go back to that question is it's a living, breathing entity, and every night the show is the same. It's the same in the book, but it's so different. No matter, maybe you might have an understudy on or a swing on or something, and that changes the dynamic. But even if we do the show 8 times a week with the same cast, every night is different because the audience is different. Their reactions. There's 500 people in the audience. That is, some of them it's their first time seeing the show, so you have to be true to the story. But as well, it changes. And on stage, there's moments that are developed, or it's a roller coaster. It changes, it breathes, and that's what's so wonderful about this amazingly written show is that you can come see it 20 times, and every time's going to be different.
Yeah,
it's
and
be
it
the
still
same, but
really
different.
feels just as fresh as
Yeah.
it did when it first opened on Broadway. That's the great thing about looking back on a period in the past, because it still feels the same. You know, a show that was brand new in 2006 and really current then might feel like it's, 12 years old, but this one does not.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big, hats off to casting. They find guys who are excited about this piece, and women also, and people who want to make this story what it is. And they try to cast people who are similar to the characters and bring a little bit of themselves, because they don't want caricatures, they don't want impersonations, they want people, because that's what these guys were.
Yeah, exceptionally talented. The casting team really found people who are exceptionally talented. How about we take a couple questions from the audience?
That'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I was wondering what each of your favorite song to perform is.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I love that question.
For the longest time, my favorite song to perform was Working My Way. And it's still one of my faves, but actually, I think Dawn has now become my favorite song. It's we sing at the end of Act 2, and it comes in 3 sections. It shows us on the Ed Sullivan Show. It shows us, and then it shows us in 2 different concert settings. It's just really, really fun. It's a great song. Yeah. So that's my favorite one right now.
I love it. I love hearing the song Marianne, because I'm in my dressing room sitting down. I've just been kicked out to Vegas, and I hear Marianne. I love hearing that song. It's just, I want it longer. It's only a short excerpt, but I just love every night. It just builds, and it's dun, dun, begging.
Oh, yeah, he loves begging. He loves
It's just,
there we go.
It grooves. It grooves.
You know that's
Sorry.
about to be made
Yes.
into a GIF, right?
Yeah. Please send that to me. Thank you.
It was you standing up.
Now
I
you
was
two
like,
have to.
I know. I saw it happening, and there's nothing anybody could do to stop
I want to learn the Jersey Boys choreography
yeah.
where they just like move their shoulders.
right.
like
Yeah,
this.
Walk. Yeah.
I was trying to
Back
do
and
it
forth.
last night in my mirror.
That's it. You got it. You're almost there.
It's so cute, so like iconic. All right, your favorite song to perform?
My favorite is actually Dawn also. I have a close connection with that. The first time I ever saw Jersey Boys, that was the moment in the show where I went, oh my gosh, this has to be the show I do one day. This is it. It's that moment at the end of the song where all the footlights and all of the lights on stage are now turned around and hitting the audience to give you that perspective of what it's like to stand backstage and watch the back of them while they're performing to this huge concert crowd. And it was that moment that I sat there and flooded with all of that light that I went, yes, this has to be the show that I do. And here we are how many years later. But it is, and now I am up there doing that song, and it's probably my favorite one to perform, for sure.
I would say "Cry for Me," and it's not just because I sing the song, but it's because it's such a cool moment in the show. It's the first time you hear the Four Seasons sound. It's the first time these four guys come together. You know, the three of them are sort of trudging along trying to find the group, and then Joe Pesci comes along and does some magic, and Bob Gaudio comes into the group and basically auditions with this song. That was actually a throwaway.
It was the B-side of a record.
It was the B-side of a record, and they were just looking for a song to put in that moment, and Gaudio was like, how about this one? And it ended up working, and it's such a cool moment because one by one they step forward and they give Gaudio a chance, and Frankie starts singing, then Nick comes over with the bass, and then finally Tommy reluctantly comes over and starts jamming, and then that sound that made them famous comes together, and it's a really cool moment in the show.
Yeah, it's neat.
I love that.
We've got time for one more.
Hey guys, I was wondering, like, before every performance, is there any ritual that you guys do before every show?
Yes, we always make fun of Cory.
Yeah.
And then,
I knew you were going to say
It starts with that.
See, you can start predicting when they're going to say it.
It starts
You're so used to it, that's fine. Do you have any,
It is probably the only regular thing we do before the show.
Yeah.
But to be quite honest,
no warm-ups.
no, I mean, yes, absolutely. To sing this show and to sing this role, I have to vocally warm up every day. Sometimes I do it earlier in the day. Sometimes I do it closer to the show. I have a tiny little ritual that I do right before I go out on stage, which is basically just like kind of stretching and you know, loosening my joints and warming up my voice a little bit, but I'm literally like, it's seconds before I go out on stage, so that's a little thing that I do.
Yep, definitely. Vocal warm-up, physical, just getting in the zone, you know, before the show. It's a physical show. It's a V8 Mustang that just starts with my season.
Doesn't stop.
You're right there.
It just goes.
And it goes, and you blink, and all of a sudden it's intermission, and you just need to have that physical. We're athletes. It's
Yeah.
you know, performing 8 shows a week and for 2.5 hours every night. It's nonstop. So you have to be trained and warm up and cool down. So yeah.
For me, it's a little different. I'm normally a much higher singer than Nick Massey is, so
The base of the group.
I don't warm up before the show. just to
You
make-
gotta keep
right.
the low
Yeah,
notes.
Sometimes
exactly,
he's
yeah.
warming up, and I'm like, Mark, what are you doing? You have a low note to hit.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you know, the four of us will be sitting in the dressing room before the show. We'll all just be sitting. We're into our own things, doing whatever, and all of a sudden they all hear.
I feel like you should just stay asleep till you're about to go on, so you
smoke
can
a
Just
cigar
like a
right
shot of
before
whiskey
the
and a
show.
pack of cigarettes, and then a nap right before the show, and that's about it.
best pre-show ritual ever.
Yeah, right.
See, my character doesn't enter for the first 20 minutes of the show, so when
So
they
he's
get
usually
places-
getting into the shower.
When they get places, I'm like, I'm gonna jump in the shower, guys. And then I sit in the room and I literally sing the first 20 minutes of the show with them.
That's your warm-up?
That's my warm up. And then Mark always walks in as I'm like,
Right, yeah. Every day, the
getting
same
warm.
moment.
It sounds like you guys have a blast backstage.
Yeah, oh my
Certainly
gosh,
the
yeah.
audience is having a blast, and watching you live your lives as the actual Four Seasons in Jersey Boys is such a truly remarkable experience. I'm so glad the show has found this new life at New World Stages.
Us too.
Yeah, we are too.
The Four Seasons were the voice of a generation, and now through this incredible theatrical show, it's the voice of this generation and hopefully every generation to come. Thank you for doing such a brilliant job.
Thank
8
you for
times a
having us.
week, and thanks for being here with us
Thank
today.
you for having us.
Thanks for
Everyone
having us.
go see
Thank you guys
Jersey
so much.
Boys.
Thanks.